Okay, hi everyone. You should be able to hear me now. I just unmuted my microphone. If you can just send me a little note to let me know whether the sound's coming through, that'd be great. I think you've all found the little messaging system there. Turn my screen on just a moment. Just check the sound. That'd be fab. Oh, good, excellent, great, Richard. Excuse me. Lovely. Hi, Karen. That's funny. Cool. Karen and Ruth, you know you're nearly neighbours. You're probably about 200 yards from each other at the most. And Richard on the other side of the world, which is great. Edina, London. Hi. Cool. Just yeah, I'm pretty sure, Karen. I'm pretty sure Ruth lives very close to you, actually. Richard, I'm guessing you're 12 hours ahead. 12 or 11, is it? Fresh for bank, yeah. 10 hours. Okay, great, excellent. All right, let's just. Okay, so Karen and Ruth are in the same road there. Fab. That'd be good for practicing. Okay, let's carry on. We're going at 10 minutes now, so others will probably join at some point, but we'll get them with it, and I'm recording the whole thing, so we can take it from there. So thanks again. I hope Friday. Okay, or for Richard, it's Saturday morning there. I didn't plan Friday evening. It's just the only night I could do this week. I planned Monday, and then suddenly it was a parents' evening or something, so I had to switch it to Friday. There's just a few things I was going to go through with you, and any questions you have, just to keep in touch, keep contact, because I think it's nice to have the personal contact. Richard, good. I'm glad that's good for you. Excellent, great. So let me just go through this first of all, a little overview of what we're aiming for here. This is going to fill my screen up a bit, so hopefully you can see that. Okay. Can you just let me know? Make sure you can see. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Let me turn my screen on. Let's try this. Share my desktop. Right. Cool. Okay. Right. Great. So you should be able to see my screen now. Apologies for that. I thought I'd done that already. Good. Okay. So is my screen coming through to you? This should be a little. You can see it. Fantastic. Okay. Great. So this came from a little chat I had with Karen. She was saying she had all the bits and pieces fit together. So I suddenly realized I hadn't actually said that specifically, or if I hadn't been specific enough about it. So I thought I'd just whiz through that for you, just to give you a feel of what we're aiming for here. So the aim is to help you be a confident hypnotherapist, or be able to use hypnotherapy confidently. And really, to do that, what I've done with the training is take you through what's taken me years and years to get to. But if I can skip out all the mistakes and the errors I've made and just give you the good bits, then hopefully it can save you some time and help you get to a fairly confident level fairly quickly. And to do that, first of all, before you do anything, as I said at the very beginning of Module 1, you need to have some understanding of the mind and what kind of model we're working with. So that's what the first bit was about. I don't know if you can see this. It might be a bit small there, but it's just some of the. I'm going to send you a PDF of this so you can have it there. I might be able to zoom in a moment if you bear with me. I think we can do this. Let's have a look. Whoops, that's not it. It's like this. Oh, there we go. Yeah, great. Okay, so first of all, it'll take you probably a few seconds for the screen to catch up with my screen here. So just kind of looking at models of the mind, how we create symptoms, how we create problems, and a general overview of what needs to happen to change those problems, and also just the very beginnings of like a theoretical understanding of how hypnosis, how hypnotherapy can achieve that. it's great when you see a diagram, we have a description of it. Seeing it actually work in practice is a very different experience. I want to give you a bit of theory first of all, obviously, so you know what we're working from. Then go through some absolute basics of hypnosis. Let's just get rid of that one. So really simple ideas. Nice simple relaxation inductions. Just something I said. Just sitting, talking, reading, and being in a room with someone while they sit quietly and listen, and you talk, and just getting the words into your mind, becoming very familiar with them, so that the actual the hypnosis bit is almost, you can almost forget about that in a way. It just becomes something you do to get to a certain point. It's not quite like that, but rather than that being something to focus on, eventually I want that to be so second nature to you that you don't need to think about that bit. But obviously you've got to practice a lot to get to that point. So some of the exercises I've given you are based around that, just practicing with each other, and it's great seeing some of you do that, which is good to see. The second module 2, I'll put some more rapid inductions there. I've been adding videos all week. I got a bit of a block for a while. I was sorting out the Dave Almond type things, and every time I tried to do it, I just couldn't finish it for some reason. I suddenly realized what I was trying to do was teach something I don't actually do. In the classroom, I've given the handouts out, we've moved through it, and I've moved on. When I was trying to record it like this, it's much more, because you can't glance over things, I have to edit it and go through it. I suddenly realized I was stumbling and mumbling, I wasn't saying the right things. It's because I wasn't actually teaching what I actually do myself. So I've been re-editing it to actually do it how I do it, but I'll give you a reference to the original material, so you can check that out if you want to. And as soon as I realized that's what my problem was, I've been whizzing through the stuff and uploading it, and it's all there. So there's some faster inductions there. The Dave Almond was a lay practitioner, stage hypnotist who taught medical doctors in the 50s and 60s in the US. His inductions are really brilliant, really quick. I was using them today. They're very fast. You know, today I had a session where a guy talked for literally 50 minutes. We chatted. It gave us about 7 or 8 minutes at the end of the session. So you obviously don't have time for a 15-minute relaxation induction there. So a 3-minute Dave Almond type induction gave me 4 minutes to do the actual hypnotic work, and he went off very happy. I'll tell you more about him in just a moment. But it's getting used to doing the quick inductions. That's what the Dave Almond was for. So if you can practice some of those as well, they're really good. I've uploaded a video of the eye closure one, so you can just copy that. And I'm pretty sure the script is there. If it isn't, it'll be up there tomorrow. So that's some slow and nice, relaxing hypnosis, and then some slightly faster ones for when you need to get someone in that state of mind very, very quickly. Once you've done that, then you can move on to the actual hypnotic suggestion, like giving people suggestions. And you know, so far I've given you a few very basic scripts. I can't really give you a lot of scripts for the simple reason I don't have any. I don't have any to give you. I don't use them. Any script I've had to give for the training, I've had to write specifically for the training course. I haven't used script, and if I can teach you to do the same, you'll be able to improvise with any client wherever you are. That doesn't mean I say don't use script, because there's some brilliant scripts around, and you can take ideas from them. But I don't have many myself, because I just don't use them. I create them and manufacture them as we go, and I want to show you how to do that. And from part of the module 2 and part of what I want to say in this presentation tonight is just give you the beginnings of how I go about doing that, so you can begin thinking in that way as well. But we need to get you onto the idea of hypnotic suggestion, being able to give simple suggestions that you want to stick and see the results. So some of those suggestibility tests are put up there with, you know, magnetic hands, magnetic fingers, that kind of stuff. They can seem silly, they can seem like fun things to do, but actually they're a good test of your confidence building, because you have to have a bit of self-belief to be able to do those things. And if you can practice doing that and start getting a result with it, it's really good practice for when you have to give powerful ideas to someone. And the ability to do that is really important, because very often it's your belief that will carry a person through. Sometimes, you know, the only thing they have to hold on to in life is the belief that you can help them. You know, because quite often when people look into hypnosis, hypnotherapy, they've already tried everything else. They've been down the counseling, they've been to the doctor, they've been to psychotherapy, they've seen the psychiatrist, they've done everything, and they think, oh well, I'll give that a try. And very often you're the last resort. Not always, it is changing more and more, but quite often you will be the last resort for many people. And if you can have the belief in yourself that you can help them, then that belief somehow transmits into the clients as well. And I think being able to create some of these hypnotic phenomena is really good for building that self-belief. If you can do that with someone, you can tap into the power of their mind, then you can help them begin to change. And there's many ways to do that. But starting off with these very simple hypnotic things is a good way. The last classroom training weekend I did was 2 weekends ago now. We covered a bit of stage hypnosis, and I did a little mini stage hypnosis. 16 students responded really well. But what the actual brilliant bit, the best bit, we got the whole thing on video actually, is that one of the most skeptical girls in the group, she's a brilliant member of the training, but she's really skeptical. And after we stuck these people to the chair, made it so they couldn't walk, made them drop coins because it was burning and all this kind of thing, it was all quite funny for about 20 minutes or so. And she was saying, "Oh, why don't you just walk? Why don't you just get up and move?" And she couldn't quite get it that these people, they just couldn't do that. They wanted to, they just couldn't move. The suggestions had stuck. And I thought, and actually she said, I wish I could feel that. I really wish I could feel that. So I thought, here's an opportunity. So I just got her attention right across the room, and I basically gave her the same kind of focus as you give to someone when you want to create those phenomena. But I had to listen very carefully to the words she was saying as we were doing it to overcome all the resistances. Then I let it sit. And about 5 minutes later, there was a little giggle in the corner, and she was sat there saying, "Oh gosh, I can't move. I really can't move my feet. I can't move my legs." And the idea began to take root within her. And this really skeptical person, lovely Poppy in the group, she's so brilliant, had begun to respond really well. And it was great, and it was really funny. And as I was giving handouts out, I was saying, wouldn't it be great if it moved all the way up your body? And then wouldn't it be great if your arm couldn't move, and so on. And for her, it was a real, in her own words, she said it was a real light bulb moment, because she suddenly felt it. She suddenly experienced what it was like for hypnotic suggestion to take effect. And actually, we left about that for about 2 hours. Well, the whole of the rest of the training session went on. She just sat there staring at her hand, wondering why it wasn't moving, staring at her legs. I've got it on video, so I'll upload it soon so you can see it. But when you can begin to create some of those phenomena in people, it really shows you that the power of suggestion, the power of people's imaginations and their minds. So you don't need to be able to do that yet, but little hand magnetic practice things are the beginning of that. And you don't ever need to do that if you don't want to, but to see it and witness it, because then you can really understand how people's thoughts are creating experiences within them. So a little bit of getting used to that kind of thing, I think, is really good for your confidence. Once we've done that, then we're starting to move on to personalizing the treatment a little bit. You see, it doesn't take a lot really to learn hypnosis and practice it and be able to do a suggestion script. You can, with a bit of practice, you can get that within a few weeks really. And a lot of training courses, that's really what they focus on, is just hypnosis and suggestion scripts. And I've seen courses advertised saying 100 scripts available, 200 scripts. But I just shy away from standard scripts. I will take a little phrase from now and again if I see a good one. But to me, it's far better if you can have a chat with the person and find out what it is they're thinking, what they're feeling, and then create your own ideas back to them on the spot. So that's what I want to go to helping you with a little bit right now. We'll do that in just a moment. So personalizing the treatment is essentially you gather information from people, and you identify their beliefs, and then you handcraft in a way suggestions to deal with those very personal beliefs. So they become very personalized. And that way you're treating the real core of the problem. Just glancing at the note, Richard's saying sound keeps going on and off. I think it's switched on all the time here, so it might be a little connection problem there, Richard. Hope it sorts out soon. If anybody else is having sound problems, just let me know, and I can possibly reset it. Everybody else okay, or can you hear what I'm saying? Good. Okay, I'm having the same problem. Right, okay. My sound is breaking a little too. Okay, I tell you what, sometimes if I move the screen and talk at the same time, okay, so it's everywhere. If I move the screen and talk at the same time, sometimes it's too much for the internet to handle. So I'll try and slow it down a bit. If I keep my screen still and talk now, can you hear me okay now? Or is it still breaking up? I've gone quiet for a moment. Let me move on and see if the sound fixes itself. Let's move over the other side of the screen. Okay. Richard's saying it's better. Karen says, okay. Let me give it a moment. I'll slow down the screen movement for a moment there. So once we've got the hypnosis idea, and we've got the idea of being able to give suggestions, and we've got the idea to, in a way, really personalize a person's information. That's all comes under the idea of putting information into someone, helping them very at the symptomatic level. You can do that with beliefs as well. But once you've done that, then great, thanks, Karen. Okay, once you've got that, also, then we need to go the next level down, which is the general title for that is hypnoanalysis, which is where you're kind of looking at the underneath of things. You're looking into the background of problems. So you're looking at why something's happening, what the cause is. Is it incidents from the past? Traumatic incidents could be from childhood, from teenagers, or from very recent times. Something that's caused some kind of idea to lodge or stick in the person's mind. That's making it difficult for them to change. It's like that stuff in the library or the pyramid model there. And there's many different forms of hypnoanalysis as there are suggestion in a way. So we go through some of those with you. Theory, reasons, and also practicing it. And this is the bit where it gets a little more exciting, shall we say? Excuse me. Because the moment you ask a question, the moment you take somebody anywhere, you have no idea where it's going to go, and things can get very lively, very emotional, which is okay. It's all good, but you've got to be ready for that. And that's why I think it's good to practice that on a fellow student when you're used to it. It's not very good to practice this on relatives or friends because it can get extremely personal. So suggestion and all those kind of techniques, that's fine. You can practice on anybody you want to do that. When it gets into the hypnoanalysis side of it, you really need either volunteer students or a volunteer to practice on who you don't know that well, or just fellow students when you can learn from each other when it's okay and you just get to know each other. When I do this in the classroom, we swap everybody around all the time so that most students get to work on each other during the course of the months. So it'd be great if with the Skype practices and the meetups, you can swap around because different people respond in different ways. You'll naturally be drawn to some people more than others. That's okay, but if you can vary it, it'll be good. So when we go through those techniques, which is the next module, and I've got lots of videos recorded of that already for you. They're already done. Once you've got kind of the ability to gather information, induce hypnosis, either do some kind of suggestion thing or some kind of analysis, then in a way you've really got all the tools you need for helping most people. So then that's going to put it all together for you and start, slide this over, and start kind of combining it to build a full session. And sometimes you treat people for one session. Sometimes it might be for 7 or 8 or 9. It's nice when we get the mini miracles, but sometimes it does take a while as well, especially if there's lots to work through. So it's kind of how to run a session, how to combine suggestion, with regression, with analysis, plus all the practicalities of handling clients and money and that kind of stuff. So we're going to go through all this with you. Not necessarily all in this order. To me, these are the core elements you need to know. So we'll be covering bits and pieces of these, dropping them in as we go, but eventually they'll all come together for you. Once you've got that, then we can go into more specific treatments as well. A little bit of NLP. I don't use that a lot, but enough. There's a few bits and pieces I find useful, which we can tie in with hypnosis. things like past life regression, weight loss, eating disorders, smoking, stop smoking, working with children, all these kind of things. So some things that need just maybe a little more specifics. So we go through some plans for that, some session plans, some treatment plans. And any one of these, you could do a weight loss session. It could be very simple suggestion to change some habits, or it could be an emotional problem where you have to do 5 sessions of hypnoanalysis because the person's overeating because of emotional issues. And then you do some suggestion stuff at the end once you clear that out to help them change their habits. So the whole thing can overlap. And we'll go through that with you, and I've got some video recordings of that we've been making as well. Plus, of course, there's the business side. Some people learn this just for interest, other people it's for career income and so on. So if you want to build a business, and I'll start that sooner rather than later. When I did my very first training course, I left the business part a bit towards the end, but I realized that if I'd have started it earlier in the training, I could have given the students more support as they went along. So my current classroom training, we started that already, and with yourselves, I'll be doing that probably for the next module, just getting you to start thinking about the business side of it already. So those of you already working, that's okay, but anyone who's starting fresh, the sooner you can start planning, the better. So this little phrase I've put here, I don't know if you can read that, how to get clients at a profit. That's such a in a way an innocent phrase, and yet it's so valid because it's very easy to spend loads of money on advertising and get nothing back. And it's very easy to get lots of volunteers, but if you can get clients at a profit, then you have a business, basically a viable business. So how to do that is an important thing. It gives you different types of advertising, websites, leaflets, all that kind of stuff. And so by the end of the whole experience, let me just try and move this down again. Bear with me just a moment. By the time we've gone through all this, you should be able to meet anybody who comes into your room or contacts you, or anybody you want to work with, be able to and have a good idea of how you're going to proceed. Even if you don't know exactly what you're going to do, at least you have some good principles you can follow. Okay, so that's some of the bits and pieces of the jigsaw puzzle we're putting together through this training course for you. Any questions on that at all at the moment? Good, Karen, this is really helpful. Thank you. Okay, that's great. I'll try and send this out as a PDF so you can have a look at this. This program, by the way, is called XMind. I don't know if you can see it. It's a brilliant little mind map type program. It's free, completely free. So I use it for all sorts of things. It's got my let me just see my to-do list for the days on there. I'll just click over and you can see. Okay, so to these things, emails and appointments, follow-up notes, homework, since the day of stuff, send out marketing coupon and an email. Never do more than 6 things in a day. Any more than 6 is too much, apparently. That's what somebody told me once, so I'll stick with that. This is an overall plan of different things I'm involved in. So I've got a plan like this on it for hypno training and all the bits of that. So you can get it for free. XMind, it's brilliant. Okay. Richard says, yeah, suggestion has never really done much for me. Yeah, myself included, until I really started looking into actual individual beliefs. You see, if you give a suggestion, but it doesn't change the core belief system, then the suggestion just doesn't stick. It just, nothing really happens. It's a nice idea, and then it just fades away. So if you can bring about a change in belief system with a suggestion, then it is effective. But it's not always easy to do that. So what I find is information gathering, then some hypnoanalysis, then some suggestion. That works well for me. and actually a little bit of the other way around too. If you give it a little bit of suggestion at the beginning of the session to create a positive idea, and then do some analytical work, actually the analytical work tends to be much more effective, or happens much more quickly. It's like you build a positive idea of what the person wants, and then you contrast that with a negative idea, and it seems so much easier to go to the cause of it once you've done that. I'll go through that in more detail when we cover the regression. But yeah, I totally get that, Richard. It works for some people easily, but not others. And when I said about the classroom stage hypnosis I did just now, yeah, 4 people out of the 16 people responded really well to it, and then a 5th one with a bit of persuasion, and another one at the back. Oh, I forgot actually another one. One other person, the skeptical girl, while I was getting her stuck to the chair, somebody else said, "Well, I can't move either now." I was listening to the same words, so that was somebody else joined in as well without realizing it. But that's only what, 5 or 6 people out of 16, so a third, which is about right. About a third people may respond well to suggestion. But I think if you can do suggestion and analysis, you've got the whole thing. Suggestion to me sometimes is a bit hit and miss, unless you can test it there and then. Right? Analysis, you just see the results straight away if you've hit the spot. Good. So any other questions on any of those elements? All of those I'll be going through in so much more detail for you, but any other questions right now? Okay. I can come back to that in a moment if you have any ideas there. Richard says more of an analysis person. Yeah, me too. I've been more that way inclined actually, Richard, so I totally get that. There were some questions just now. Let me have a look. That's it. Okay. I'll just type these up for a moment for you, make them bigger. If it's super large text, you should be able to see it. Where are we? Okay. Questions there. Can you see those okay? Does the tone of voice make a difference? Should it be soft, gentle, assertive, etc.? Does it make a difference? Now, the old school way, the old-fashioned way, was when you do like a hypnotic induction, you do the induction bit in a nice and gentle and relaxed way. Then the suggestions, you become very forceful and say it like this, and you give the command and very authoritative, and then you do it like that, and then at the end of it, you just calm as you bring someone out again. But that's an old school, very authoritative way of doing it. And nowadays, I don't think it matters too much. You just got to do what feels right to you. If you're a very assertive person, then your assertiveness will make people feel very confident and very safe in your hands, as long as it's not, too over authoritative. If you have like a gentle approach, then people will feel very nurtured by you, very relaxed around you. If you have a soft approach, then it feels nice and calm, relaxing. So I personally don't think it matters too much, as long as it creates the desired effect. Just do what feels right to you. That's what I would say with that. What do you think of music in the background? I've spoken to people who've had various hypnotherapy, and some say they like music being played in the background. What are your thoughts on that? In London, I have music there because there's a CD player in the room, and my other 2 clinics I don't, because there isn't. If there was a CD player, I would use it because it's just quite nice. Just to have very, very quiet music just tinkling in the background. Really, really neutral music. Something that has no verses, no choruses. It's very ambient, just floats along. It becomes a bit like a conditioned response, actually. When someone comes in the room and they hear the music, the whole atmosphere puts them back in that state of mind, and you get into it. So I quite like having it, and it helps fill in some of the silences if it's quiet for a little while, and it helps avoid distraction from outside. So I have a mixed experience of it, but I do quite like having it there. Oh yeah, question on the Facebook page. I'll leave the forum going as well, but I'm going to get a Facebook page going because it works quite well and people can chat on it quite easily. So I'm going to set it up, but I'll keep both going. I'll come back to that later. Good. Okay, here's something else to look at. This is a good exercise to do when you're chatting with someone. And I'm going to make a video on this for you. It'll be up there very soon. But when somebody comes to you for some help, essentially there's something they don't want to do anymore, something they do want to do, and then some kind of how they will be when they're doing the new thing, which could be, if it's a habit, say, it could be, I don't want to bite my nails anymore. If it's smoking, I don't want to smoke anymore. If it's an eating disorder, they might say, I want to just be normal around food. I want to feel relaxed around food, have a normal relationship with food, something like that. Now, what I've noticed is that people will either be able to say one of these first two columns, either don't want or do want. They can either say, I don't want this, or they can say, I do want this. They can tell you what they don't want or what they do want, but they can rarely do both without a little pushing. And whichever one they tell you, the other one is usually where some kind of significant emotion lies. Now, I don't have a sheet like this for clients to fill out, but mentally I'm doing this in my mind when I'm chatting to people. What is it they don't want? What is it they do want? And what would it be like if they were already there? Because that's the belief system you've got to help them change. So on a very simple habit, for example, lots of people will tell you, let's say nail biting, I don't want to bite my nails anymore, but they won't have an idea in their mind of what it's like when they're not biting them. They can say, I don't want to bite my nails, but they rarely say, I want to have long, healthy nails that I feel good about, because they're just not used to it. Okay? Or some will say, yeah, I want to stop smoking, but they will find it hard to think of themselves saying, look, I want to be a non-smoker. Now, this may sound very subtle, but I just noticed that whichever of these things people say to you in the conversation, the other one will usually be where there's some element of resistance. And wherever there's some element of resistance, there's always some element of like a fear or a tension or anxiety or emotion. And that is the bit that will help you bring about some kind of change. So you can play around with this with yourself a little bit and look at the areas where you can find you can do one or the other. And the bit you can do, great. The bit you're resistant to for a moment, think about what's making it slightly resistant there. And there's usually some kind of feeling. And then the last column is what you're trying to get people to, where, yeah, I am a non-smoker, or I've got healthy nails, or I feel good about my body, and I can eat well now, and feel happy, and that kind of stuff. So that's the bit you're trying to get people to. Now, if you only had a few minutes with someone, and you only had a few minutes to do some kind of suggestion type thing, then this will be a really fast way of like handcrafting some suggestions for someone. What is it you don't want to feel? I don't want to feel nervous and shaky right now. What do you want to feel? I want to feel calm and relaxed. Okay, right. So calm and relaxed, calm and relaxed. And you just go for the opposite words. I want to feel calm and relaxed. Okay, now I can stay calm and relaxed. I can be calm and relaxed. Okay. So get those words into someone's mind. If you've got like a speech to give the next day and you've got not long to work with them, finding out what they don't want and what they don't want to feel, finding out what they do want to feel, very, very specifically in their own words, and making the suggestions there fit those words will be extremely effective for them. It may not cure it, but it will help them get through. And then when you have more time, then you can do more hypnoanalysis with them to get to the bottom of it. Well, why do they feel that way in the first place? And how can you really solve that out? All right. So I put this little sheet. This will be on the members there very, very soon. But play around with this idea. Just think of things in these terms. What is it you don't want? What is it you do want? What do you need to believe in order to get there? And that's what you're helping people break through. Does that make sense? So any questions on that? I'm going to give you an exercise to practice this, but I want to just introduce it here because I think it's a good thing to just start thinking about for a while. So Richard says, if you feel nervous and tell yourself you are calm and relaxed, it's likely to make you more nervous. Yeah, that can be the true. If you notice that, what I'm saying is, I didn't actually mention the third column too much. What I'm suggesting is if you say to the person, look, I want to feel calm and relaxed, that will actually be a stepping stone in that direction. If you tell someone they're calm and relaxed when they're not, that's just a lie, which is why suggestions don't work. If you get someone to think about what they want to feel first of all, then there's no conflict there. I want to feel calm and relaxed. I want to be able to speak clearly. See, if someone's nervous when they're public speaking, it's because they're afraid they're going to get stuck or stumble or get it wrong or feel stupid or go blank or pause on the spot and all that kind of stuff. So the more detailed you can get that. So it might be, I want to be able to speak clearly. I want to be able to stay focused. I want to feel I can get my message across. And if you put it in those terms, it'll be more likely to be more effective. And if they say, well, I'm okay with everybody in the room, but there's a certain person flying in from the other side of the world who's the head boss and he holds my job in his hands, then that idea needs to be addressed in some way. And so you go through those thoughts there. Well, what do you need to feel? What do you need to believe in that moment in order to be able to do that presentation? And it could be, well, I need to believe that my job is safe anyway, for example. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this right now. So then the suggestions there could be along those lines. You want to be able to stay calm, stay focused, stay relaxed. You want to remember that your job is safe anyway. And you can do this. You're a good person. You're knowledgeable. People like you. You can do this. So you get all those kind of things. Yeah, you can do that to amplify. Yeah. So it depends what you're working with, because if you haven't got a lot of time, it's hard to do analysis if you haven't got a lot of time, because you get into something and you've got to see it through basically. But yeah, you can use that to amplify the feeling, to see more deeply into it. Absolutely. That's kind of why, rewinding to what I said just now, when I do an analysis session, I give positive suggestions at the beginning, because actually that will create more of the negative feeling, any resistance to it as well. I think we're saying the same thing there, Richard, actually. If you push someone in a positive way, but there's resistance to it, the resistance will come up. And you can use that as the beginning of a regression type session. That's what I do anyway. So if someone is calm, if someone's nervous, I don't tell them they're calm unless I can be absolutely sure they're going to be calm. I may help them say, look, I want to be calm, because there's no lie there, there's no conflict. Yeah, good. Okay. Sorry, any questions on that there? Any more questions? Oh, everyone okay? Good, excellent. Yeah. With I think when you're first doing this, I think it's perfectly valuable to print this out as a statement and actually help people fill this in. You know, sometimes when you, especially if you're nervous, people are nervous, you want some props. Have a sheet like this and fill it out with a client. It's a perfectly valid thing to do. It'll help you, help them, and it's a good way of them getting getting the contents of their head outside of themselves and seeing what they need to work on. And quite often, I won't, as I said, I won't go through a sheet like this, but I will do the the other statements, the missing bits on a piece of paper, and write them down with the person to take away at the end of it, like a prescription. Here, have this, read this 3 times a day. I do it as a joke, and people quite like having something to take away. So this is a good thing to do. Hi, Raj, you just joined us there. Excellent. Good. What I was going to do next was I was going to tell you about, let's say, a few clients I've been to this week. I had quite a good week. January it's sometimes a bit slow, January, so it's taken a while to get going. This week's been quite busy for me. Last week was all right, but a bit quieter than normal last week, but this week's been a busy week. Tuesday morning was quite funny. I had a client booked in at 7:30 a.m. at my Lewis clinic, which is about half hour's drive from where I live. But it happened to be snowing that day on the way there. I got caught up in traffic, and it was a 15-year-old boy I was supposed to see, and his mum was bringing him to see me and help him stop smoking. He's been having sneaky fags here and there all over the place. I've seen him before, and basically she wants him to stop smoking. He doesn't want to get caught. So I'm a bit stuck in the middle with trying to strike a deal, because he wants to smoke but doesn't want to upset his mum. She obviously wants him to stop. But I've seen him, and we got it right down to just a couple of cigarettes a day, and his mum backing off to ease the pressure off. So it's all working okay. But I was a bit late, and I arrived at the clinic at 7:30, and they were parked outside. And as I got there, I realized that the person who was supposed to open the clinic there wasn't there. They'd been delayed for some reason. I didn't have my key with me either. So after a little quick chat, I've offered him to go to the cafe, which I've done a session last week. I'd done a session in the cafe in London because the fire alarms had gone off. And this young lad seemed very reluctant about going to the cafe. But his mum said, well, I'll go to the cafe and you guys can sit in the car. So I thought, okay, fine. So we began the session in this nice brand new Range Rover parked outside the clinic, in lovely, nice heated seats. It was all nice and warm. We kept the engine running, and he sat in the passenger seat. I sat in the driver's seat, and I did a nice quick Dave Ullman type induction to get it all there, and he responded really well. He was in a really nice deep state of hypnosis, and there's a little tooting of a horn. And I looked out the window, and there's a little guy in his car pointing at me, obviously saying, "You're in my parking space." So I thought, oh God, this is like just one of those days. So I said to this guy, look, I think we've got to move the car. You can stay in hypnosis. You can open your eyes if you want to. You can keep your eyes closed. I assume it's okay with your mum if I move her car. And he went, sure, just murmured. So I reversed this Range Rover off the drive, drove it around the corner to a car park, parked up with this guy still in hypnosis, and then carried on the session in the car park. And it all went very well. He was fine. It was quite funny seeing his mum come back, because as she arrived there, she didn't see the car. She didn't see we'd moved, but she saw her car disappeared. Obviously, she was thinking, where's my car and where's my son? And the look on her face was quite funny there. But it's a good example that things just don't go perfectly and you have to improvise. But we still did a very good session in a Range Rover in a car park. His mum was happy, the boy was happy again, and you just got to improvise these things now and again. Last week, as I said, the fire alarm went off early in the morning in the Harley Street office. So the client was outside. I said, let's go to a cafe. And we went for a cafe and had a chat. I bought him a cup of tea and stayed there about 40 minutes. And when we came back in, did a nice quick induction, got on with the bit we need to do, helping with some sleeping trouble. And then that was okay. So don't worry if things go wrong. As long as you just go with it, act as if everything's okay, improvise, and you can still do your job, and people are still very happy. So, where are we? Today we had, let's have a look. Yeah, guys is an author. He's writing a book, and he's got a bit of stress from a publisher, publishing deadlines, having trouble sleeping. So I basically chatted through with him and to see exactly what his worry was, what's keeping him awake at night. And his basic fear, it came down to that he's writing a historical book. He's got a publishing deal. It's all due to be out soon on the French Revolution. He's worried that it'll be interesting enough. He knows he can tell the story, He knows he's telling a good version of it. He knows he's telling a version nobody's ever told before. But he's slightly worried that people will find it interesting, and is it good enough? And that's his fear, really. So once we chatted around that and it got him animated talking about it, it was fairly easy to realize actually he accepted, actually he was doing a good job. His publisher was pleased and everyone was pleased so far. And I think he just needed to voice some of those fears, voice some of those worries. And I spent probably a good 40 minutes, 45 minutes just chatting with him, really just keeping him talking to see what was in his mind. A little bit, he just moved home as well, so there's a bit of tension there going on. And in my mind, I was thinking, what is it you don't want? What does he do want? You know, he didn't want to feel he was a boring writer. He wanted to feel he was interesting and that he was good enough for his audience. Okay. He said, my book's probably never going to be good enough for me, but as long as it's good enough for the audience, then I guess that's okay. So to me, that's a perfect suggestion there. Okay. It's okay to accept that the book, whether the book is ever good enough for yourself or not, it will always be good enough for the audience, and that's okay, so you can relax. So that became one of the ideas to help him sleep, along with some very standard sleep type suggestions that, you know, whenever it's sleep time, bedtime, I always say to people, this time is just for you. You know, this time is just for you. Whatever else is going on, this time is just for you. And it just helps people begin to clear their heads. So that was good session, 40, 45, 50 minutes of talking, quick rapid induction towards the end, 5 minutes of those suggestions, and he went away quite happy. I'm pretty sure his sleep will improve because of that. I've met him before about 3 months ago, and we'd sorted his sleep out before, but a meeting with a new editor and moving home had triggered off the anxiety again, so we just kind of reset it a little bit. This chap is 79. So I could do an analytical stuff with him, but it just didn't seem appropriate with this chap. Any questions as we go, just feel free to ask, by the way. Somebody else today, young boy from school, 11, 12 years old, he's having some trouble at school. He's got anger problems, and the other kids know it, so they provoke him. They know that if they push him, shove him, rugby tackle him, he'll fight back, and then he'll get into trouble. And so this morning, I arranged a really quick chat with the headmistress of the school. So it's a private school up in North London, just to get her perspective on it, because I think it's nice for the headmistress, or I've done this with the headmaster of another school before, just for them to talk to someone, because then they're far more likely to be less impulsive in their decision making if they know there's someone like me or like you or on the outside there to communicate with. They may then come to just seek not advice, but just refer to, well, this has happened, what can you do about it, rather than them using the punishing route. And so that's why I suggested to the mum, I said, let me just chat to the headmistress, just so there's someone else in the loop between you and her, basically. So I had a good chat with the young lad there, and we went through some of the ideas that he goes through, and basically he gets made to feel stupid or silly, he gets angry, he feels embarrassed, people laugh, and he gets angry and then wants to fight back. It's, that's what it is. So just getting him, it took probably 45 minutes for him to acknowledge all that. So the fact of him actually being able to say that out loud is probably a first step towards breaking the pattern of it. And we did that by, I tried to do a bit of regression with him to see if the anger had actually come from anything else. And he couldn't think of anything at all, he said, but I kept saying, well, just make something up, just imagine, what would it be like? And eventually the whole scenario came out that I still don't know if he's made it up or not really, but it was the image of being very little, falling off a slide, feeling embarrassed about it. He'd hurt himself, started crying, people laughing at him, he got angry and all this kind of thing. So is that a real memory? Is it something he's made up? I don't know, but it fitted perfectly exactly what happens at school. So in a way, we did a bit of very, very mild regression type stuff to get to the cause of it. What'll happen next? I don't know. He's been very well behaved so far. I saw him just before Christmas, and yesterday was the first incident from the end of last term and this term, when he was getting the incidents every 2 or 3 times a week before. So he responded quite well first time, just needed a bit more second time. I'll go through children in more detail at a later time, but he came today, so I'll just mention him. Who else we got there? A few people came with flying fear this week. Sorry, Raj, how many sessions would you see him? Children, I tend to do one or two first of all when I first meet them, and then I'd leave it up to the parents, see how we're going. Maybe leave it every couple of weeks. I don't like doing too much for too long with children because they can get a bit bogged down with it. But maybe three or four sessions, 5 sessions altogether would be a reasonable estimate, something like that. There's another young chap who came to see me on Wednesday. He's 15. I saw him a lot about a year ago. I haven't seen him since the beginning of the summer. I saw him every week or every other week for probably 6 months because he was just really, really going through it. And then I was just one of the people he could talk to. So it was half hypnotherapy, half chatting, half counselling, half whatever really. And he'd done really well. So I did quite a lot with him, maybe 10 or 12 sessions altogether. And he came back this week and it was really nice to catch up with him. He was late. They had booked an hour and a half session, but got delayed. So we had like 35 minutes, I think, in the end. So we had to just squash it all into a short period of time. But he'll probably come back in a couple of weeks. And I'll probably catch up with him every couple of weeks or so for a while just to make sure he's okay. So sometimes it's you have quite intensive therapy type sessions. Sometimes it's just like a bit of maintenance, bit of just making sure they're okay. And I do a little chat and some suggestion towards the end with that kind of thing. Nice little visualization. Children tend quite well; they quite like it. The two people fear of flying this week. Both came with a fear of flying, but both for very different reasons. One actually was the fear of flying turns out to be a fear of being away from home and not able to get back because a fear of being ill. That's one person's fear of flying. The other one was just a fear of losing control, having a panic attack. And both of these have been quite a few sessions now. So one of them, the panic attack one, we've probably done about 5 or 6 sessions, and she's nearly there. She's so nearly there now. She's come on so much, and her life has changed dramatically. She said she feels so much better, so much more confident, so much more relaxed. Tiny bit of anxiety here and there. And we just went through it again. I did some suggestions at the beginning of the session to say, think about how she wants to feel, then think about how she has been feeling. She had a little dream, I think, or a dream or a nightmare about being somewhere. So I used that as the feeling to start off the analysis type thing. And then she basically, I think I just sat there. I barely said anything for about 40 minutes, while she just took herself through like a visualization of going on the flight. But having a panic and going through it and controlling it and it being okay and it coming out, and she was absolutely living it as if she was there completely. Her body was kind of tensing and shaking and then calming, and then she was saying, it's okay, it's all right. And I just didn't actually say much really. A few little murmurs and noises just to let her know I was still there, I was still listening, but that's it. And she took herself through that, and she had lots of what are called abreactions on the way. Cover those very soon. At the end of it, she says, it feels good, feel great. And in the first few sessions, we've done quite a bit on childhood stuff where she felt out of control and panicky. And that's pretty much faded away now. So we're just left with a few very specific symptoms. So that's a mixture where we started off with suggestion, gone into analysis, and probably will do just some suggestion stuff to finish it off for her. That's probably 5 or 6 sessions altogether. The other lady, the illness one, this is a slightly different one. We've done quite a few, maybe 7 or 8 sessions. This is a Russian lady. She's lovely, but she's the boss of a very big transportation company. And so a bit more control there going on. She's great, a lot of fun with her, but it's taken her a while to get to the bottom of things. But she really, really goes through it. Really, traveling away, just a real physical symptoms kick in, and they've been getting less. She can manage them better, but still gets the anxiety now. The physical symptoms have stopped, so just got a bit of anxiety left. So we're just chipping away at that. Again, lots of analytical type stuff with some suggestion thrown in here and there. But the suggestions I throw in are based on what comes out during the analysis, and not just general ones. where are we? Someone for some eating and weight loss. A couple of eating and weight loss clients, very different ones. Just where eating habits have gone a bit out of control, and just helping them sort out the emotions behind that. A lot of eating can be quite emotional eating, not all of it. So I tend to look at some of the emotions there. I used to do all the emotional stuff first of all. Now I tend to do more practical, like a plan first of all, to help the weight loss at the first session, and then see how that goes, and then all the resistance to that, then we can use that for the analytical bit from the second session on. So weight loss, I might do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions with someone. It depends on what they're going for. Where are we? Somebody else came for tinnitus, which is the ringing in the ears, which incidentally was the person when the fire alarm went off. The last time the fire alarms went off in Harley Street, about 2 3 weeks ago, or was it before Christmas? I can't remember now. It was when I had a tinnitus patient again. What kind of coincidence is that? Tinnitus is where people have very sensitive ears and ringing in their ears, and both times the blooming fire alarm went off. The only time in all the years I've been there it's ever happened. So that really was the tinnitus in this chap was causing him a little bit of anxiety and causing him not to be able to sleep that well. So again, same thing. I chatted to what the specifics were that were making him feel anxious, and once in the saying of it, usually you can hear the answer just in the saying of it. So for him, again, some suggestions around sleep. I did a little bit of analytical thing to see what was going on, and there was a little bit of tension between him and his wife. Not a lot, just a little bit. So we got him to verbally express what the tension was, the thing he'd not been able to say. It's very mild. They're obviously a very lovely family, very happy. But he felt calm, felt a sense of relief by saying that, which means his inner tension's gone down. And then some very simple suggestions for sleep and making the tinnitus more meaningless. So I'll come on to that another time because that's a very specific topic. Somebody with some relationship troubles. So I didn't even do any hypnosis here, just sat listening actually. Just sat listening for an hour, which is all right, and just feeding back what she was saying. Some others, quite a few. Someone with a fear of death, young boy, so 21 years old, absolutely shaking. Just he couldn't stop thinking about dying, basically. And that's his thing, and he was in tears pretty much for the whole session. But as I kind of poked and prodded to see, what was really going on there, then part of it was the fear of losing his parents, or him being without his parents, or them dying before him, and them suffering, and him still being alive, and all this kind of thing. He had the belief that when someone dies, there's just nothingness, and he kept imagining the nothingness, and that was what's causing the panic and the anxiety. And he's really, really upset, this guy. So there's going to be a bit more to it than that. But he was absolutely obstinate, saying, "Look, I know when we die, that's it. There's nothing." And it's not for me to challenge his beliefs, but I said to him, "Well, actually, you're not completely telling the truth there, because you're imagining something after we die, and you're imagining that it's a nothingness, that someone's in this nothingness. So either we just stop, or there's something, there's a nothingness." And whenever I could get him to think about like a full stop, you die, full stop, that's it, he looked calm. Whenever he thought of it, but then there's just nothingness, then he got anxious again. So there's something going on. Yeah, it could be that, Richard. I have no idea what it is yet, but he'll be back for a few sessions, and we'll go through it, and we'll see what it is. There's some kind of separation thing about the parents there. Some kind of obviously it's a big fear. What was interesting, he spends 3 days a week in a church singing. Has no religious beliefs at all, but spends 3 days a week singing there. I said to him, I was asking about different thoughts about people's beliefs on life after death and consciousness surviving the body and things. He says, well, I just believe that anybody who believes that is deceiving themselves because they're too scared to think about dying. So he's seeing, even people who have other beliefs, he's seeing it through the filter of his own belief system. And when people do that, it's hard to challenge them. So, but that's not the aim there. The aim there was to understand what his belief is, and help him resolve the fear. That's what he wants. So he came today. We spent about an hour chatting, and some hypnosis there. I just did a little regression to see where that feeling would go to first of all. And he's about 13 years old. He'd been reading a book where someone had died in the book, and it started making him think about people dying, parents dying, and he'd been sad all week on holiday apparently. So that's the first level. Whether that's the cause or not, I'm not sure. I doubt it, because it wasn't. There's a lot of emotion there, but it was a lot of like a symptomizing things going on there. So Richard's saying, it could be Bertram, and nothingness is a central tenet of Buddhism and can be very releasing. Yeah, it can be. I don't think he was thinking that way. He had a very different interpretation of what nothingness was. He'd been to see the film Interstellar, and that freaked him out, because it was like a whole film about what he's afraid of. So there's a few things. It's that idea of being extinct and somehow existing in that extinctiveness, in that nothingness. That's what the fear, the dread is there. So we'll see. I'll see if I can keep you informed with that one as he comes along. So I saw him today for the first time. He's coming back next week, so we'll catch up with that one and see what happens. I'm rattling off all these people there. I assume you're listening. Any questions on this at all? I'm trying to give you some examples of what my day is like, what different people come through the door. I've always done very general things rather than specializing, but you can do. Any questions on those? Trouble is, if I said that to him, he wouldn't have a clue what I was talking about, Richard. I understand what you're saying, but from a working with a person whose beliefs are extremely obstinate in a certain way, he was like, I was trying to challenge him a bit and said, you don't know you're right. You can't prove you're right. I said to him, you don't know that you're right. You could be wrong. I said, it's entirely possible. You could survive death, and actually you'd be pleasantly surprised. And he was saying, no, I know. I just know. I said, really? No, you don't know. I was pushing him a bit, but I could see I was winding him up. So I said, I believe that we don't really know. We can have beliefs, but we don't really know until it happens. I was trying to make sure I wasn't just trying to challenge him too much. But he was extremely fixed on that idea. So as soon as I realized that, I thought, okay, there was no room for any element of chipping away. I was trying to see if there's a way of getting a chink in the armor, just to give him a tiny bit of doubt that, what if it was something else, and see if that would be useful to him. But there was no way in there. So I thought, okay, we'll back off from that one and see what happens. But, I get what you're saying, Richard. Yeah, it's just, but the general guideline for this sort of thing is step into the person's belief system and operate within that, and then it's much easier to bring them out of it. That's what I've always found the most useful. Cool. Okay. Anything else? I don't want this going too long, about an hour. So we've been going about an hour now. So I want to just give you an overview, give you a bit of information, chat through a few clients, answer any questions, and then let you get on with your evening or your morning, and then we can take it from there. If there's more things you want me to go to, I can do on this. I can do these more often if there's more questions come up. The forum's a good place to keep putting ideas, and we'll get the Facebook group going soon. What I'm not sure about, I need to check, because I've got a Facebook group for my classroom students, which is great, and I think it'd be great if I just merged the two together. I just need to make sure they're okay with that, because them there's all the information's in one place, and you can learn from them. They can learn from you. You can practice with each other. It's more people to practice with. So I'd like to kind of merge it all together into one group. I need to just check that they're okay with that. I can just tell them, but I think it's just polite to ask. That's all. And that way, it's much easier to keep in contact as well. So any more questions? Yeah, more webinars would be good. Yeah, I think so. I got for anyone watching the recording of this, it's actually January. I totally intended doing it in December. It just somehow that Christmas thing just took up so much time this year. I don't know how it happened, but the timing of it, the 2 or 3 weeks of it, just seemed to suck up a whole month in a way. But what I want to do is have these more regularly, even if they're just half an hour here and there, an hour here and there, just to go through some things, catch up, and then keep in touch. Good. There's nothing. I mean, I've got more client stuff to go through, but I think yeah, so disconnected from it. Yeah, I think the webinars help keep the disconnection there. I'll try and send out some more regular updates and emails as well. I think the more you keep like a group feeling going, the better it is. You feel like you're part of something. But for anyone who's watching this, who wants to do it in their own way, their own time, of course, that's absolutely fine. That's one of the benefits of doing it this way. But I like keeping in touch. I think it feels much better that way, whether it's through email or webinar, or the Facebook group is quite good because it's easy to just fire off a comment. I'm not a great Facebooker myself, but I have actually been doing it with the Facebook group. We have the training much more because it's quite nice that way to stay in touch. So we'll do that. Good, Karen. Yeah, Karen saying webinars are very helpful. Thank you. Lovely. Okay. Anything else before we finish? Just over an hour there. That was quite a good time. I can do longer ones if there's more information people want to go through. But for now, I think for this evening, that's all I've got to say. All good. Thanks. That's great. So there's more information coming up into the Module 2 area very soon. All the Module 3 stuff is very nearly done already, because I've recorded most of that when I did the classroom weekends. So that'll be done much more quickly. And once we get to that stage, then I think you'll have a much better feel for where we're at. At the moment, I've just been laying a few foundations for you. Once you put that down, then you'll get to grips much better with the whole thing. Great. Okay, so this will be recorded. For anyone who wants to listen again or watch again. Any questions, anytime, please just ask. I try and get back to you as soon as I can. Sometimes I get overloaded a little bit, but I will always get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Good. Okay. Let's leave it there, and we'll catch up soon. I'll try and do another webinar within the next couple. If I can do it in the next couple of weeks, that'll be good. It might be a bit tight, depends if it falls on the training or not. And what I'd like to do for especially UK people is maybe get like a practical session together. We'll book a room for a day and do a day where you can come along. I know it's tricky for Richard Australia there, but anyone who can make it will actually get together and do some practical stuff together, which would be quite good as well. But that'll be at least a month's time, but I'll give you plenty of notice for that. I think that'd be a good idea to do some of that. Okay, Karen, Ruth, Richard, Dino, everyone there, Raj, thanks so much. I'm going to say good night for now, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care. Cheers. Bye.